Okay, so for you, what does it mean to be recognised by BAFTA as a breakthrough Brit?
Yeah, an awful lot, you know. I kind of grew up my whole life watching the BAFTAs and seeing what BAFTA can do for people's careers, and this program in particular, the actors that have come through it in the past, you know, I'm big admirers of, and the filmmakers and directors, and you know, so very, very honoured, and to be Irish and to be part of that as well is it means an awful lot to me. Like Jessie Buckley was picked last year as well, so you know, it's yeah, definitely very, very exciting, and I'm looking forward to kind of grab this opportunity for the next year and just run with it and see what it has to offer. Yeah, very excited.
Okay, so who or what was your inspiration that led you down to, you know, being an actor?
Yeah, that's a hard one. I've been lucky in the way that I've always known I wanted to be an actor. Like I never kind of was struggling, kind of which a lot of almost every young person does, not knowing what kind of career they want to go into and being made to decide when you're so young. But I've known since I was like 10 I wanted to be an actor. I asked my mom if I could go to drama lessons when I was a kid, and just when I was in them I just knew that this is what, like straight away, just being able to be someone different and to make people laugh, and then to make people stop laughing, and you know, every single aspect, like the dramatic and the comedic, and it just appeals to me, and it just makes me really, really happy. And then I suppose why you want to do it changes as you get older, but it all stems from just pure enjoyment as a kid. Yeah.
Your career is actually, you're a bit of an all-rounder, aren't you? You've done theatre, you've done TV, and you've done film.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what you've always wanted to do? Which is your favourite part?
Yeah, I grew up just doing pure theatre, you know, when I was younger, because I think that's kind of how most people get introduced, because you can't just go, I want to be in a film now, but you know, but you can go to your local kind of youth theatre and start doing plays. And then the film that I did came along, and then that was made into a TV series. So you know, I've gotten to do it all, and there's not one that I would prefer over the other. You know, I think it's wherever the interesting roles there, and whatever medium that is in is what you go and you do. Then if you're lucky enough to get the part. So, but I think you get an itch if you're doing a lot of screen. You get an itch, and you got to go back and do theatre, and then after you finish theatre, then you want to go and do screen.
Yeah.
So I think just try to vary it as well.
Yeah, I mean, does it take like the different kind of styles in your your acting as well between theatre? I think theatre is a bit more dramatic, isn't it? I think it's over the top.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the way I kind of often imagine it is like it's got to all be centered in the same reality, and the same kind of like it all needs to be, and it's the thing that everyone says is truthful, but you know, it does have to be truthful, but with theatre it does need to be bigger, so it's like putting a magnifying glass on real life. Yeah. But it's a fine balance, because you know, you need to kind of walk the line, because you don't want to go too far, but then you go too little. But I think it's all the same principles. It's just different mediums, but if you can do one, I think you can do both. You just have to
You've got to be adaptable.
Exactly, like work with the scales and kind of
yeah, exactly. I mean, was there any point in your career so far that you thought, this isn't for me, or I just don't want to do this?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like gave it that much thought. I think definitely you kind of get setbacks, and you might be on a high one day, everything might be going well, and then you might get 5 rejections, and then you're kind of like, whoa, geez, maybe I can't do this, maybe, you know. So it changes, you know. But I think that's just what goes with the game, you know. And it's a difficult path that the being an actor. So you gotta be comfortable taking those things and kind of get used to it. And I think. So I think I know, definitely I'm going to keep doing it, but someday I'll be like, no, I can't do this. But
you're set for life.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, if for someone who wants to follow in your footsteps, what advice would you give them, and what would you give your 15-year-olds? What advice would you give your 15-year-old self?
I don't think I will give my 15-year-old self any advice, because I think it's hard, you know. I used to always ask people. I remember I used to go in for auditions and in for drama school auditions, and you're like, asking people constantly, like, what do they ask you? Like, what do you think I should say? What do you, whatever. And as soon as you start asking those questions and people start telling you the answers, then you start changing who you are. And then you start like being like, you don't answer what you think, you're answering what you think they want to hear.
Yeah.
And they never do want to hear that. They want to hear you for you. So I think if I went back in time and gave my 15-year-old self some advice, I might not be lucky enough to be in this position now, you know. So I think you just have to fail and mess up and then learn from that, and then sometimes messing up will get you something else, you know. I think advice is good sometimes, but a lot of the time I think that it's not.
Just follow yourself, just be yourself.
Especially when it's from me. I don't know what I could tell myself. Yeah. Or anyone else. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is obviously going to open up a few more doors for you. What would be your next dream job?
Just again, it's so hard to see because I mean, I would love to play so many different parts and just so many different characters. Just something very different to what I've done in the past. I'd look for that, but like just, I mean, I have directors that I dream of working with, you know, and you know, have, you know, just working with filmmakers and actors that you admire, you know, like, I mean, there's so many directors, like, I mean, people that I admire, like, in back home, a director that's kind of come to kind of really broken through in the last few years, Lenny Abrahamson. I mean, he's been around for a long time, but I grew up watching a lot of his films, like Adam and Paul and like what Richard did and Garage, and then he obviously did Room and stuff like that, and more recently The Little Stranger. But his films I find them very interesting because they're real character studies, you know. And I think an actor really gets I imagine in his films, it definitely feels like from watching them that it's very much an actor's medium, and he gives you kind of a chance to really explore those characters, which is always kind of a dream. But then there's people like Shane Meadows, like This Is England, all his stuff like that. So working with, but I mean that's their dreams, you know. But
Hopefully they'll see this
exactly,
and sign him up.
Yeah. But I just think interesting parts and with great people is the ideal situation. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your time
Thank you
today.
so much.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey You Guys!